emerging as leader of the Democratic Party, but only gets 10% approval. This makes me sad as someone who is on the right and desperately wishing that the left would push Jasmine Crockett as the future of their party.
They ask, which Democrat represents the party's values? The best, the highest anyone achieved was 10%. That's it. And it was AOC. Kamala Harris came in second with 9%.
That's crazy.
And I think then Bernie Sanders, and then everyone else, and Barack Obama. I think it was Obama. I don't know. And then everybody got.
So how many people must they have voted for if the person who got the most votes was he only got 10%? That may actually prove that the left has a deep bench. I think the right, and I actually I committed to this mistake last year in my political coverage. I think I made a video called like the Democratic Party is dead. I was wrong. I walked back many of the things I say in that video because the Democratic Party is not dead. They have some sleeper agents. They got some sleeper cells. There are people that you on the face of it, especially folks on the right, would never dream to say, oh, this person could be successful in American politics. This person could be the next president of the United States. But you know what? Gavin Newsom, he's got a winsome personality. He's got a beautiful smile, and he speaks very confidently. He says all of the right things. Someone like him, hey, I watched Red versus Blue debate. If you want to watch the Red versus Blue debate, go check that out on my Non-Newbie Highlights channel where I reacted to the whole thing. The way that he spoke in that debate, he could win elections if he just speaks like that, and he knows it. He knows that he has like a sizable portion of the American population in the palm of his hand. That's why he started a podcast. He knows what he's doing. I think there are going to be people following him. Maybe Ro Khanna, maybe some other folks as well. I think the Republicans shouldn't be sleeping on what the left could bring to the table, especially when the right wing is becoming less and less ideological and more cult-like in its following of Donald Trump when it comes to especially the MAGA crowd, who are forsaking principles just to do whatever Donald Trump says to do. When you have the left starting to come up with ideas like Gavin Newsom walking back some of his positions on the LGBT agenda of the Democratic Party, being like, I've got this idea of how to move forward rather than saying everyone get in line and get on board with this progressive agenda. That is, when you have a vision for what the country needs to look like in the future, then that is more appealing than, Republicans who are basically going to go out in the future and say, hey, let's just do whatever Donald Trump would want us to do, which I think is what half of the Republicans are going to do in the 2028 presidential election, unfortunately.
4% or less, down to 1%, meaning there's no party leadership, and the best they can muster up is AOC.
Yep.
10%, that's it. Republican Party, Donald Trump. The Republican Party supports Trump like 100%. It's like, if you go to any Republican and say, who's the leader of the Republican Party? Trump. You go to any Democrat, who's the leader of the Republican Party? They might say Elon Musk to be cheeky, but it's Donald Trump. You go to Democrats, say, who's in charge of the Democratic Party? And they go,
do you know why that is, though?
What?
I will say this. It's not bad that they don't have a leader. You don't need a leader necessarily. What you just need is an agenda that you agree on to move forward. The things the Democratic Party has been pushing is extremely unpopular. Like the things they've been pushing the most are extremely unpopular, even to the point where a lot of Democrats even don't agree with it. Like the Democrats just stopped talking about the whole gender thing altogether because the majority of people are not on board with that. There are other issues too, supporting Palestine over Israel. The majority of Americans don't support Hamas, so they should cut down on that rhetoric as well, because it's divisive and people just aren't on board with it. They don't support it. And if they forsook some of those things, it doesn't matter if they have a leader, because then they have an agenda that people would be on board with. So, for example, I think one of the missed opportunities, I don't understand this, when Kamala Harris picked Tim Walz, I think the Democratic Party did the best thing that they have done in the past 4 years politically, where they looked at Tim Walz and they said, oh, this guy's great. He supported school lunches in schools in the state of Minnesota. That's the type of thing that everyone can get on board with, because Republicans were hating on Tim Walz, and then the Democrats were having a very good response to that. Actually, they were like, oh, you're hating on Tim Walz, the guy who wants kids to be able to eat in public schools? What's wrong with eating in public schools? You want kids to starve? Like, that was a very, very winning line of argumentation. Unfortunately, they sort of like discarded that, and they're not having a nationwide push to fund school lunches for some reason. I don't know why they're not saying, oh, let's codify this policy and make sure that no kid is hungry. Maybe in part it's because they know that that's not really happening, that there's no school saying no lunches for you. But still, it's the type of thing where it's like, it's a policy that most people agree with. It's a policy that most people support. You could get people on board with it, right? And then the left is like, and then the right is sort of like, I mean, but taxes though, right? Meanwhile, these parents are like, I want Johnny to be able to have some lunch to eat. You know what I mean?
Why they have no leader?
Yeah. No. Why? Well, yeah. Why they're nothing? Why they're
Well,
crumbling?
I think when you represent nothing,
Right.
there is no one who can represent you. So if you look at the 2020 election cycle,
The Democratic Party does not represent nothing. They just represent policies that are extremely unpopular at the moment. Predominantly, there are things that the Democratic Party supports that they just aren't, that the majority of people support, but the Democratic Party just doesn't focus on them for some reason. I don't know why, but this is not where they're trying to go.
Joe Biden said, I hate Trump. And you vote for hating Trump. And
Right.
people voted for hating Trump. Well, I'll tell you what. The way I described it this morning, if you got two guys in your kitchen, one guy says, I'm going to cook you dinner and I'm going to make beef bourguignon. And it's going to be the best you've ever had. And I'm going to insult you and cuss and swear and make a big mess. It's like, okay, that doesn't sound too good, but he's going to make the best meal ever. The other guy goes, I won't do any of that. Okay, guess what happens when you vote for the guy who promises not to do anything for you? Come dinner time, there's no dinner.
Empty plate.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can have the crazy guy who you think is messy.
But that's not what's going on, right? Kamala Harris was a progressive who supported all sorts of far left things during her run as a when she was trying to get the Democratic Party nomination. She tried to move back to the center, but she supported still a lot of things that, you know, majority of Americans are at best uneasy about. So it's not that the Democratic Party is the guy doing nothing. The Democratic Party is the guy who's like, okay, if you vote for me, you have to go to bed at 7 p.m. You have to give your sister half of your toys to use for half of the day. You can only have 2 pieces of candy each week, like going down a list of all of these things. And then you've got the other person who's this other babysitter who's like, you know what? I am going to let you eat as much candy as you want, have as much sugar as you want. You can even draw on the walls. And even if like the results of some of those things are going to be bad, the things that you're appealing, the things that you're saying and supporting are the things that the populace are going to support wholesale. And so, of course, you're going to win the elections when you've got an appeal like that.
and talks weird, but he makes you beef bourguignon. Which I don't even know what that is. What is that? Is it like beef and like a white wine sauce?
I don't know.
I think with noodles
Sounds
as
delicious.
well.
With
Yeah,
noodles?
yeah.
I don't think he's saying it right either.
Why the Democrats are super unpopular right now is because of Trump. But why in particular because of Trump? Trump is so effective at baiting the far left Democrats, the far left in the Democrat Party, to rally around the most unpopular things that make the rest of the party look really stupid and drag the rest of them down. So, for example, with this most recent trade Nicaragua stuff, this is literally a terrorist organization. Press Secretary Carolyn Levitt said these are monsters who tortured, raped, and murdered a 12-year-old. They said they were responsible for killing 22-year-old nursing student Laken Riley. So he's forcing the Democrats to defend literal rapists and murderers.
True.
And the Democrats are asking themselves, why are we so unpopular?
Oh yeah, and that's another problem that the left has too, where many of the left-wing positions are literally just contrarian. They are opposing Donald Trump because anything Donald Trump does must be bad. But what happens when the things that Donald Trump is supporting are extremely popular? Then what you basically are doing is you're literally boxing yourself up into the most unpopular position possible because you are choosing to oppose the one person who is representing the most positions that are appealing to the most amount of Americans at that particular time.
He's deporting Mahmoud Khalil, right? Supports literal terrorists. He's not just anti-Israel. Somebody who supports Hamas, who is anti-Israel, and now he baited the.
I actually looked this up, and I plan on doing a video about this in the future. I don't know that he supports Hamas. The thing that they used to tie him to Hamas, actually, I'll play this. I'll show you guys this. Was they said through June. From June through November of 2023, he was a political affairs officer with the UNRWA, which has extensive ties to Hamas. A damning Israel.ca compiled through interrogations of Hamas terrorists and documents found in Gaza estimated roughly 1,200 of UNRWA's staffers were linked to Hamas or Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The group last year fired 10 staffers involved in the October 7, 2023 terror attack in the UNRWA, which gets millions in U.S. aid, previously came under fire from U.S. House Representatives from aiding Hamas with food, fuel, and supplies. So it's not just him being a supporter of Hamas verbally. This is him working for the UNRWA during a time in which they were allegedly helping Hamas and giving them material support. So it's even worse than what Elad is saying here.
Far left to literally go protest in the street and make him the face of their movement. So he's so effective at baiting the far left, and the centrist Democrats just have to get dragged to their grave by the far left.
I just have a quick correction. It's a red wine sauce. I can't believe I said with a white wine sauce. I'm silly.
But also, they have nothing to offer, right? They have no good news to bring to anyone. So even American values were based off hope, giving you freedom, giving you liberty, giving you confidence that this is the land of the free. But Democrats do the exact opposite. Racism exists. Therefore, if you're Mexican, if you're a minority, you're not going to get the same opportunities as the next guy. So they have no hope. They have nothing to offer. Once again, it's only the.
I think they're failing to coalesce around the most popular issues within their party because of the centrist and the far left. And Trump, I think, neutralized some of their issues because I think the Democrats, they've won elections in the past, and I foresee that winning elections in the future once they find their footing in leadership here. But on some positions, many people in the country, do prefer the Democrats, but Trump managed to dispel them and focus on issues that are so just unpopular for Democrats. So, for example, we haven't heard a word about abortion. That is the most popular issue Democrats can ever talk about.
That's what I was
Trump has managed to completely dispel that by saying he wouldn't move forward with the national abortion ban. So the most important issues he is dispelling, and then he's pressing his thumb down on the most unpopular issues that the Democrats have to deal with. Like, again, deporting literal rapists and murderers. And
Right,
this
it's
is who the
extremely popular.
ACLU decides to focus their defense on. Like, you could have legalese to challenge any case. And
We also
Donald Trump needs to be more selective on this one. Donald Trump should do things that he, like the meme 7 years ago? I can't believe it's been that long. Wow. The meme was, ingenious move, Trump supports impeachment, forcing Democrats to oppose. The fact that Democrats are actually defending Trende Arago right now because Trump is deporting them.
Yeah.
We should just someone's going to go to the president and say, Mr. President,
Right.
anything you do, they'll do the opposite.
Right. Now the Democratic Party is like, oh, we should be nice to the terrorists because Donald Trump doesn't like them. Like, what?
Sit up.
Right.
So, first of all, you should start praising McDonald's, Starbucks, Chuck E. Cheese's.
Yeah.
Then get them to come out against all of it. Then force those businesses to side with you because Democrats are opposing them. So when Trump brought McDonald's, this happened. People like McDonald's, okay?
Wait, this
It
happened?
may not be as big as it once was, but people love their cheeseburgers and their French fries. That's why McDonald's is everywhere. Donald Trump ordered McDonald's to the White House, and the Democrats started attacking McDonald's, saying it was disgusting. And I'm like,
hilarious.
But
you're
McDonald's
gonna
even
force
have anything to
McDonald's
do with
to come
that.
out in support of Donald Trump because they have no choice.
That's crazy,
Because
dude.
it's like, okay, McDonald's, side with the liberals and agree that your food is garbage, or side with Donald Trump, a guy who's on Air Force One with a Big Mac right now in RFK Jr. And he's Trump should play up these very popular issues. People love Taco Bell. Trump should go to Taco Bell. Then they're going to start making fun of Taco Bell. They're going to say it gives you the runs and all this other stuff. And then Taco Bell's going to be like,
Wait, so are you saying Trump should be pro-choice?
Which it doesn't, by the way. It doesn't do that anymore. It used to, but it doesn't.
Well,
just debate the Democrats.
I mean,
because they would probably change their position. That would probably probably be the one thing.
He's not for a nationwide ban.
Right.
I do think
Which is inconsistent.
there's
on its
some
face.
things they can't fall into.
Yeah.
Issues like bringing McDonald's to the White House, means nothing to them, so they will take the inverse position. The abortion thing would result in them saying Trump's a liar, don't trust him, because it's too egregious, right? You can't go that far. But Trump can literally do anything popular that's like mainstream. Like Trump should go to Target and invite the CEO of Target, and he should say, show me around your beautiful store. Democrats will come out saying Target is awful.
Wait. You know what's funny is I would actually love to see this, right? So we've got the whole Tesla thing right now, right? With the Tesla terrorists going around, destroying property in hopes of terrorizing Tesla customers, right? It would be hilarious to see Donald Trump go out in public and say, and he actually went in public and said, go buy Teslas. But it'd be funny if he went out in public and said, don't buy Fords. I don't like their trucks. I don't like their cars. Get a Tesla instead. Leftists go out, trade their Teslas for Fords. And then Donald Trump comes out, does a some sort of public event where he shows off like a new Ford EV truck, and he says, I love Ford so much. Ford is awesome, and look, you've got a surge in sales. I want to congratulate you. You're a great business people. You make great cars. Like, it would make leftists so mad if Donald Trump did that. And I genuinely think that that's something he could do. I think you could be a little too extreme. I don't think that literally every single thing that Donald Trump would support, a Democrat would oppose, but there are many things that they would. And I think that buying a Ford vehicle is one of those types of things. They would be so mad, bro. They got the car payments and everything, and they're gonna end up being on board with Donald Trump just because he decided to yank their chain. That would be hilarious.
Awful. How could you? You're evil. Don't shop there. Thanks for checking out this clip from Tim Cast IRL.
That's the end of the clip. Okay. He has a good point, and I think it sort of is understated because, I think people underestimate how much of the mainstream left-wing ideology is just opposing Donald Trump at this point.